around 3 a.m. on April 8th, 2018. Chad Lawhorn had taken a long flight back from San Francisco the night before, so his sleep schedule was all messed up. He pulled out his phone and he saw a notification from his Venmo account. His younger brother Casey had sent him $250, and attached to it was a single word note. It just said damages. Knowing his brother had long struggled with his mental health, Chad was concerned he was getting ready to hurt himself, and he had sent him this money as a way to compensate for the emotional toll he was about to inflict on him. He grabbed his keys, hopped in his car, and began driving to where his younger brother and his mother lived. When he finally pulled onto their street, he looked down the road and he saw dozens of police cars and TV crews, and there was yellow crime scene tape all around their property. Chad just stopped the car right in the middle of the road and just stared. But at some point, one of the police officers noticed him and walked up and knocked on his window. The news Chad was delivered was far worse than anything he was expecting. 24 hours earlier, Chad's younger brother, Casey, was spending the day with one of his very good friends named Avery. They had gone to a comic book store to play Magic the Gathering, and then afterwards they headed back to Casey's house to go to bed. Around 12:30 in the morning, Avery fell asleep on the living room floor, and as Casey was getting ready to go to bed himself, his mother called him and asked if he could come pick her up at the bar. And so Casey begrudgingly agreed to do it. He drove to pick her up, and when he saw her, he could tell she was totally intoxicated, and the entire ride home, she just pleaded with Casey not to hurt himself because it would totally devastate her if he ever did that. Casey hated when she talked to him that way, and apparently she did this all the time. When they got back to the house, Casey dropped his mom off, and then he went up to his bedroom where he retrieved a rifle he had stolen from a friend. He went downstairs to the living room where Avery was still asleep on the ground, and he placed the rifle up against the side of his head, and he fired one shot. His friend instantly. Casey went upstairs to his mother's room. He pushed the door open and it was totally dark, but he could tell his mother was still awake in her bed. And she looked up and saw her son standing in the doorway carrying a gun. And that's when Casey, without any hesitation, raises his rifle and fires 2 shots, and then his gun jams. Now, neither of those 2 shots were fatal, although one of them did strike her in the arm. And so she's screaming at him, "Why are you doing this? You're killing me." Casey was totally unfazed. He flipped on the lights, he fixed the jam, he re-aimed at his mother, and took 2 shots, and these would be fatal. After that, he went downstairs and robbed Avery, and then he hopped in his car and he drove all the way to Mississippi, where within 24 hours, he would take his own life. We know all of these details because shortly after he committed these crimes, Casey posted a lengthy confession to Facebook detailing exactly what happened and what he did. In his post, Casey says he feels extremely bad for his older brother Chad because he knows this is going to be extremely hard for him, and he encourages people to help his brother during this insanely difficult time. While he doesn't provide a specific motive for why he committed these crimes, he does say at the end of his confession that he's been thinking about murder a lot lately and wanted to know how it felt. But after doing it, he says he barely felt anything at all.